to music, every decade the sound of generally the music in the world changed. In the 2000 we have revisited the 80s, and now the music started to revisit the 90s. Are you revisiting the 90s?
Well, we are now at the moment actually preparing a project which is called, it's a working title, maybe it's going to be the final title, but it's a kind of Laibach Revisited. We are revisiting ourselves the early 80s, simply because we'd like to, you know, even for us it's interesting to hear what we did in the 80s because it's so long time ago, and we'd like to understand what we did. And because we work with new people in the group, that Laibach is a kind of ever-changing organism. It's quite interesting for us to see how these people who now work with us understand what we did in the 80s, in the early 80s. And I think now it's a time, we don't like anniversaries and so on, but if we have to have one, okay, let it be like the 30th anniversary. So we're doing this anniversary projects. At the same time, we are also working new projects which are completely different. And I hope we'll have a possibility to present them quite soon.
Okay, you also have the thing with the numbers. You always have in the band the four of you. Why 4?
It's the easiest to rhyme, you know. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. To count, if you have like 4, I mean, it's a kind of, you know, 5th, 6th, and so on. It's already acquired. But 4, that's a rock formation. You know, you've got like classical thing is Kraftwerk. There are always 4, even if basically there's only this one guy left, Schneider. And Beatles, they were, you know, you still see Beatles as the 4. Nevertheless, that only Paul McCartney is left. Ringo is God knows where, you know, if he's still alive. And it's, you know, it's the north, south, east, west, the cross, the plus, the whatever. It's just 4 is enough because everybody else can fit in the number of 4. 4 is a group. 3 is a trio. 2 is a kind of double. You know, it makes no sense.
I heard you once. You said in the interview that the name, the people of in the band is not important. It's important what they do.
Yeah, I mean, we are in that terms. We're quite serious. We don't think that our names are so great to be remembered individually. We decided to work in the group, and what we do is a group project. So we kind of, you know, we put things together. Nevertheless, it's only me sitting here now and talking for the group. But you know, I'm not on stage, so the other guys are doing on stage what I'm doing here and so on. Names are really irrelevant, and you know, after all, the art does not belong to individual names. It's not only art, but whatever you do, it's something which, you know, you get serious. You know, get rid of yourself first of all before you really want to do something serious. I mean, it's just complete nonsense. On the other hand, we work with so many people in the group that we don't even remember their names. So, you know, what the heck, you know, let's just use 4 names which we can remember, and that's it, and everybody can use them.
Okay. You are not only a music band. For me, you are always a media, because you are a visual, artistic, and everything in that. But you have also the NSK, you invented the virtual state. And I think that, I know that people join you, but what if one day NSK is not really a virtual state anymore and the members demanding a state, real state?
Yeah, it's, you know, first we pretend that we are virtual, and then when we get, you know, at the moment we don't ask for any territory, but when we have like, you know, 1 million, maybe 2 million citizens, you know, we can maybe go and demand part of Serbia. Why not?
Okay. Everyone was the piece of us. There is no problem. Okay, what you're preparing for tonight on stage?
Well, it's there will be some songs which are going back to the very early 80s. So, new interpretations of these old songs. And then there will be some songs from the last few projects, from folk and Vat, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Because this is a Q&A, do you have some questions?
Usually they don't, but maybe
this time.
brave. No questions. Slovenian audience. Why did we speak English?
Oh, we have a foreign guest.
I have a question. Since you started 30th anniversary, so you start like a project, not only a rock group, not like only 4 guys who are playing rock and roll, but it was the urban, it was video, it was films and video clips that you made with very phenomenal artists like Goran Gajic, who is not here, and Boris Mikulic, who did a fantastic job on Across the Universe. So my question goes, will you go back to the roots? In the sense, I could talk also that in Serbian, because you're claiming now part of our territory. But, is it maybe, to fulfill the circle, to go back, not Laibach be all the 4 guys on the stage, like Rammstein, but to do something else, which means visual art, films maybe?
Well, we were asked recently, 2 years ago, a year ago, to go back. Laibach started as basically as a visual group, and music was really part of it. And recently, last year, we put up a big exhibition in the Polish Łódź, in the Museum of Modern Art, and that was quite a big one. And since then, we've got invitations to do more exhibitions. Recently we had a big exhibition in Ljubljana in the Graphic Center, a big one. And now in September we are doing a big, quite a new project in Trbovlje, where we started 30 years ago with the exhibition, which was straight away forbidden. And now we are going to reconstruct that exhibition and do some concerts and some symposiums in September in Trbovlje, in our hometown. And in November, we actually have a big exhibition in Meštrović Gallery in Zagreb, in HDLU. In February next year, a big one again in Maribor. So things are happening in that field again. We hope we're going to do more films. I mean, here's Sasha Podgorshek, with whom we did, some really excellent videos and films, and I hope he's going to do some more works with us. And we're pretty much open as long as physically we can kind of cope with this world, But even when we are in coffins, who knows?
Your approach to do the music for one movie, how is going that?
I mean, these guys, we were approached to do music for quite a few movies, but this Iron Sky project, you're talking about Iron Sky?
Yes, about Iron Sky.
It's a kind of serious thing. What we have seen really convinced us that these guys are serious, and they're basically our fans. They were inspired by Laibach to a certain extent, and that's how they started to work together. They started to work as a movie, and we are very happy that we were invited in such a serious project, and we'll try to do our best, and we'll see what will happen. But they only start to film. It's a big project, and also they want to create quite a big budget and promotional strategy, which is very important nowadays in politically correct times with such critical theme. And so they only start to film the whole project in, I think, November this year, and it will take some time before it's finished, but I hope it's going to be,
Okay, because this is also, here in Ljutomeru is a film festival, I will ask you about your favorite directors, even if it's old school.
Old school never dies. I mean, There were times when we actually went to London to watch, good splatter, shocker, horror movies all night long. In Scala movie, for instance, and we've seen most. I mean, the guy who did Evil Dead, Sam Raimi, he actually, we were their fans, and he obviously was our fan. He used our music in later on in Spider-Man 1. And Blair Witch Project was apparently inspired partly by Laibach also, and we are on that compilation, Blair Witch compilation. So we did follow all the horror production and so on, pretty much in 80s and early 90s. But the older we get, we prefer the old school directors like Charlie Chaplin, Jacques Tati, all that guys, those very kind of H.G. Wells, Orson Welles, everybody.
I understand, because nowadays the film are
Fuller.
It's nowadays there are no fun in the movies, and Charlie Chaplin, Jacques Tati, they are fun movies.
No, not only that. I mean, I wouldn't say that they are such big fun. Seriously, I don't know what happened, but these movies were in those times they were understood as a comedy. They're not understood as comedy anymore. If you watch them carefully, the Buster Keaton never laughed, for instance, and Jacques Tati is pretty much, the extremely serious. I mean, he should be treated as equally to any other. I mean, Jacques Tati is absolutely one of the biggest artists ever. Behind the camera and also in front of camera. But I think nowadays it's really hard to do movies, very hard to do movies. Especially if you go in the low budget production. And I think this festival here is absolutely, I must say, this is something incredible, that these guys are doing this festival here in Ljutomeru, and it has to be in Ljutomeru. I think that's so great for the movie itself, for the development of the film culture and art itself, and doing that kind of festival is so important that I'm kind of speechless about that, seriously. And it's much more difficult to do it now than probably in the old times.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job. Any more questions?